is a strong advocate of personal freedom and small government, and a conservative columnist with the Times and the Post-Tribune. He is a former professional skier, and his life story has been produced as a radio drama by the Unshackled radio program and heard by millions around the world. It's a pleasure to have Jerry speak to us.
Thank you very much, Faith, and what a pleasure and what a privilege it is to be here surrounded by this many patriots, American patriots. It's like the sky has parted and the dark cloud has parted and some sunlight has just dropped right down on us today. And I was thinking about this. If I had to pick one day out of the 365 days weather-wise that we have in Northwest Indiana to have this, I'd pick today. Now isn't that a coincidence? Have you looked up? What a coincidence. It's as if God were real. It's as if God cared about what's going on today. I want to talk to you today about a word. One word. I work with words. I write books. I've published books. I've written in newspapers and publications around the country. I know a little something about words. And I'd like to talk to you about one word, and that word is the word extreme. Extreme. What do you think of when you hear the word extreme? You see, that word has been used to describe you. And it's been used to describe me. And so I'm here to shed a little light today on what is extreme and what is not extreme. To love your country is not extreme. If you're a believer in traditional values, Midwestern values, that's not extreme. If a little something happened inside you when you saw those colors brought forward, that's not extreme. If you stand in opposition to the ever-increasing expenditures out of Washington, that's not extreme. If you have a desire to stop the waterfall, the Niagara Falls of out-of-control spending in Washington, that's not extreme, folks. If you oppose socialized medicine, that's not extreme. If you oppose the prospect of IRS penalties because you don't want to buy something the government says you should have, that's not extreme to oppose that. And let me give you two words instead of the phrase IRS penalties. Tax lien. That means eventually men with guns come and take what's yours, and that's an infringement on American property rights, which is one of the foundational elements of our country. That's what the IRS has the potential to do in this system of socialized medicine. If you're more concerned about the safety of your family and your neighbors than offending Muslim leaders, that's not extreme. If you're concerned about protecting the lives of the unborn, that's not extreme, folks. But let me tell you a few things that are extreme. You media people seem to be fond of that word extreme. I'm always wary of labels. I've studied cults for 20 years. And I know that when you don't have an argument, you use a label. And that label extreme seems to work for you. But after today, I'm going to turn the light up a little bit. And we're going to figure out what's extreme and what's not. Let me tell you something that is extreme. When the President of the United States admits that he was mentored by an avowed communist, Frank Marshall, that's extreme. When the President of the United States in 1996 sought the endorsement of the Marxist Party in Illinois, that's extreme. That's not what my father fought in World War II for. when the President of the United States, as a U.S. Senator, was voted the most liberal senator out of 100, that's extreme to me. When the President of the United States, as a candidate, was endorsed by Louis Farrakhan, Muammar Gaddafi, and Hugo Chavez, that's extreme. How does a person like that get into office? Thomas Jefferson said the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And folks, I'm guilty of this, and I think a lot of us are. We let our vigilance slip, and that's what happened. Thomas Jefferson was correct. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance, not vigilance at election time. I'll tell you what's extreme is a man looking at you in the eye and saying that he listened to Jeremiah Wright preach for 20 years and never heard an un-American statement. That's extreme to ask me to believe that. And Mr. Obama, if you expect us to believe that, let me tell you something. I was born at night, but not last night. I'll tell you what's extreme is having friends like Phil Ayers and Bernadine Dorn not only admitted domestic terrorists, but people who have stood in front of television cameras and microphones and said, I'm proud of what I did. I'm proud that I tried to bomb a police station and kill law enforcement officials. If you have the endorsement of somebody like that, that's all I need to know about you. You don't have my vote.
That's right.
Let me tell you what else is extreme. What else is extreme is a man who would run for president of the United States and refuse to wear the American flag on his lapel. That's extreme. That's extreme. Let me tell you something else that's extreme is when the President of the United States goes on record and says he's for sex education for kindergartners. That's extreme. That's extreme. That's mom and dad's call. That's not the government's call. I'll tell you something else that's extreme. What's extreme is Executive Order number 13489, signed into law by President Obama 5 minutes after he took office. Okay. Executive Order 13489, permanently sealing Barack Obama's personal things. There's something wrong with that, folks. There's something about that that doesn't pass the smell test. I don't know what it is, but that are my suspicions. I'll tell you what's extreme is appointing a science czar who has gone on record saying they're for forced abortions and mass sterilizations. Appointed by the President of the United States. That's extreme. That's extreme. And these are the people who would tell us that what we're doing here today is extreme. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with this picture. I'll tell you what's extreme. A Commerce Secretary who goes on record and says her favorite political philosopher is Mao Zedong, an American official. I'll tell you what's extreme. The President of the United States who would bow to a Muslim